All right, so welcome everybody. April 26th, 2024, Leadership Academy. We're gonna get this going, right? So we've been talking about DMs, right? We've been talking about the sales process, right? We've been talking about the different parts of the sales process: planning and preparing, prospecting, employer conversation, enrolling, servicing. So now today I'm gonna kind of recap a little bit about that, but I'm gonna talk particularly about DM presentations because I know, for example, this week I was on a DM with Robin, right? Dean has have a lot of DM scheduled, employee enrollments is scheduled, and so I'm gonna talk a little bit about what that DM presentation uh, looks and sounds like, right? I'm going to walk you guys through the EDGE model, right? The EDGE model, for those of you not familiar, that is a very simple system to follow. It's an acronym that stands for EDGE, Discover, Guide, and Execute. And I'm going to walk you through what that looks like. It's a very easy system for you to stay on track and be able to be able to deliver on your DM presentations, right? Because if you're doing this business right, you're gonna have a ton of appointments scheduled, right? On Monday, we sat in the office and had Michael Power come on, and he talked about the half rule, right? How about all the DMs that you have to schedule just to be able to open an account, right? Because as a lot of you guys might be finding out, you're scheduling meetings, but a lot of times it's inevitable. People are going to reschedule on you. People are going to cancel on you. It's just part of the game that we're in, right? And so we cannot um, sit around and pout as to meetings got scheduled. We just need to schedule more meetings. Imagine I was talking to I don't know who I was talking to. I think to Robin. One of the mistakes that agents make is that you're not prospecting enough. As a result, you're not scheduling enough meetings. And if you don't have enough meetings, what's going to happen is that you're going to go into your only meeting or your one of two meetings that week, and people can sense desperation. It's not even anything you say. It's just the energy that you give off. You give off you give energy that says, "I'm counting on this sale to pay my rent this month," or "I'm counting on this sale to pay my car bill this month." And that's going to happen if you don't have enough activity to create enough DM presentations. But imagine if you had 10 DM presentations scheduled for the following week. You'd walk into that first DM with a little bit of a swag, right? Knowing that, hey, if you don't give me an enrollment or if you don't buy from me, I got 9 other opportunities set up this week, right? We walk in there though with a service, with an attitude of service, right? Um, we go in there with the intention to help somebody, right? We're trying to help people with our products and services. But what happens is that if you don't have enough meetings, you're gonna walk into those meetings desperate. And I know I might be being extreme here, but you're going to walk in there like, man, I need this account. I've been here for 4 weeks. I haven't closed any deals. I need this as soon as possible. And so you have to be able to create enough activity to have enough DMs scheduled so that you walk in there not thinking I need this sale. You walk in there, how can I help you? Right. And so when we walk into those DM presentations, you're trying to figure out how do we help you? And is what I have here at Aflac, is it a program that can help you? If it is, then we're going to move forward and we're going to work to move forward on this. And that's exactly what Edge is designed for. And so that's what I'm going to walk you guys through here today. And so when it comes to DM, right, talked about the importance of scheduling DM presentation. Well, it's called, I mean, it comes from just consistent activity. Right. Again, every single week we talk about the gold standard. We talk about 20 approaches per day or 50 calls per day. You have to be doing your activity every single week to give you the opportunity to schedule meetings. But what happens is that if you can become consistent at the activity every single day, your skills are going to get better. Some of those initial approaches are going to go into the follow up. Right. Last week we walked through lead elevation, how it takes at least five contacts to be able to schedule a meeting. Well, now if you're doing the approaches every single day, every single week consistently, a lot of those are going to be going into the fifth follow up, sixth follow up, which is going to which is going to turn the odds in your favor. Keep it simple, right? We're not in a guessing world. We're literally playing our odds every single week, right? That's how we're going to win. So let me share my screen here. Let me dive right into this thing. So let me share my screen. All right. So let me get into this. Can everybody see my screen? Dean, I see you on the screen. Can you give me a thumbs up if you see it? You see my screen? Good. All right. So let me open this up here. All right. So give this a second to open up and then we'll walk you through this here. All right. So when it comes to DMs, right? We've talked about the cell funnel, right? The more activity you have, the more leads that are going to go into your sales funnel, the more that are going to turn into prospects, eventually turn into customers. Okay. And so a lot of you guys are doing exactly what we need to do, right? You're planning and preparing, hopefully, right? The planning and preparing is going to be key to be able to get to your goal center. If you can get to your goal center consistently, that's going to give you more opportunities to be able to schedule DM presentations, which turn into employer conversations or DM meetings. DM meetings give you the opportunity to schedule enrollments, and enrollments give you the opportunity to make some money, right? So that's why you're here, right? Again, we're not fooling ourselves. We're here to make some money. And so, but if you cannot be a professional and get yourself through the whole sales process, right? It's going to be very hard for you to make money, and pretty soon you're going to find yourself out of the business, and we don't want that. So let's talk about Edge. Well, actually, even before I talk about it, let me recap on a little bit of as to what we talked about last week. Follow up. The fortune is in the follow up. Okay. If you can't be good at, if you don't follow up effectively, right? You don't do the lead elevation, you're not getting to that fifth, sixth, seventh follow up. It's going to be very hard for you to schedule meetings. And if you can't schedule meetings, you don't create opportunities for enrollment. So what does that look like? So look here in this first one. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. You go out, you're spending gas money, you're fighting your fears to walk into businesses. You're doing all of those things that we do on a daily prospecting basis. And 48% of our agents don't even follow up one time. Not even one time. Okay. And look at the second one. So 25% of agents make a second contact and then they stop. 12% make three contacts 2%, but yet 80% of all sales are made between the fifth and the 12th contact. So, what does your follow up process look like? Right? Again, plan and preparing. If you have to plan and prepare your follow ups just like you do your initial contacts. Right? A lot of you are talking about data axle and all of those. Well, it's great that you have a whole lot of leads, but that first initial contact doesn't mean anything if you don't follow up. So make sure you're following up. Again, we went through this last week. For any of you, I think I saw Hayden on here. I don't think you've been on before. By the way, congratulations, Hayden, if you're on here. Uh, Started a few weeks ago, right? Super fast start. Congratulations, and Founders Week. So congratulations. We've been talking about momentum. You are in momentum. Keep it going. The easiest thing to keep going is momentum. The hardest thing to do is to stop and try to start momentum. So make sure that you keep that going. Again, but if you weren't on here last week, the videos are online. You can go back and watch any of the leadership academies that we've done virtually. So let's talk about Edge here. So what is Edge? Okay. So the Edge model is what we use for whenever we're going to do DM presentations, right? So you have Engage. Engage is the first part to this thing, right? When you walk into a DM presentation, you want to be able to build some rapport with that decision maker, right? You want to be able to connect at some level, right? Somewhere you want to be able to connect with them, right? Um, People do business with people that they know, trust, or like. Okay, so if you find yourself in a situation where you don't have anything, right? You can't relate to that person. You need to find some sort of common ground. Today I met with somebody, and I had no idea, but I asked, are you a sports fan? Do you watch sports? And I had no idea whether they watch sports. It was just kind of something that I'm interested in, that a lot of Americans are into. And boom, right away, I got a conversation. There was instant report, right? We started talking about the NFL draft that happened last night. We started talking about how much we um, hate how the Cowboys haven't done anything in their offseason, all of that stuff. So it was an instant report, right? And so it was somebody that didn't look like me, was not in my age group, not from Louisiana. I'm from Texas, but we found one common thing, and that created the rapport, right? And so you got to be able to find rapport with people, okay? And it might be as simple as something that you see in their office that you could relate to, that you could talk to about them, and that creates an instant connection. But it's hard for people to do a proper discover and guide if you don't have some sort of rapport going into the discover part. So what is the discover part? This is where we're going to literally ask questions to find out more about their current situation, so that we can take that information and show them how our Aflac program can help them with whatever it is that they have going on, right? And so that's when we're going to ask questions, right? And so it might be a question as simple as, well, Mr. Business Owner, what does your current benefits program look like? And they might tell you, oh, well, right now we currently have a health insurance plan. Awesome. Is health insurance the only thing that you do, or do you offer anything else? No, that's all we're offering at this point. Okay, awesome. Do you offer that to your full time, to your part time? Well, right now, all of our 10 employees are full time, and we're offering them the health insurance. Awesome. Well, talk to me a little bit about what that looks like. Like, what does your deductibles look like? What do your copays look like? And maybe when I ask this question, he tells me that they have a low deductible, low monthly premium, high deductible plan, and his deductible, the employee's deductible is $4,000. Okay, so I'm literally making either hope write it down, like write it down, but maybe I'm making a mental note about all this, and I'm going to continue asking questions. But let's just say that was one of the pain points that I found, right? And he says, well, it's just, and for those of you that don't know. That employer has to pay at least 50% of the premiums in the state of Texas if they want to offer a group plan to their employees. And so maybe he says, well, it's just very expensive. I'm not able to, this is the plan that we're able to afford, but they have a $4,000 deductible. Well, now when I get to the guide and I'm trying to show them how our program can help with that situation, let's just say that happens to be the main point. Well, now I'm going to show them how a hospital gap plan can help offset that deductible cost. So, Mr. Employer, you mentioned to me about your health insurance, right? How many of your employees do you think would be able to pay that $4,000 if they were in a situation where they had to be admitted into a hospital, have some sort of surgery? Well, not very many, right? Right. So here's a solution that we can bring to the table. We have a hospital policy that will literally pay on top of your medical insurance to help your employees offset some of that deductible. And by the way, we can do up to $3,000 on that hospital plan. Okay, so if they have a $4,000 deductible, well, now this one's going to pay 3,000. So now instead of paying 4,000, Mr. Employer, your employees only have to pay 1,000 out of their pocket. And so now we're showing them how to bridge those together. But if we can't do a proper engage, we're not going to get them to talk to us openly and freely, and we're not going to be able to get the answers while we're asking questions to be able to guide them as to how we can help them. Does that make sense? Say yes. Good. All right. So let me show you an easy way to be able to execute on this. Okay. So I'm going to come back to my Field Force Services page, and hopefully everybody can see this so that you know where it is. Okay. And I'm going to come to Train and Resources. Okay. In Train and Resources, you're going to see right here where it says Producer Growth. This is where you're going to find Academy Connect, which has a lot of valuable classes that you guys could take. It's also going to have Aflac On Demand, which hopefully everybody knows about, which is literally going to give you a ton of training videos at your fingertips that you could have access to. If you want to learn how to do a better DM presentation, you'll find a video. If you want to learn more about how to position a cancer product, you're going to find a training video. All these training videos go on to your Apple Store or whatever you have and download Edcast. Edcast will give you access to that. Okay. And so if you come here, look, you're going to see something called Site Sellers. I'm going to click on Site Sellers. And it's literally going to give me a site seller that I could take with me to a DM presentation, right, to talk to an employer. That's literally going to give me slides that I can walk them through. So you see right here, prospecting. This is for the DM. We even have for enrollments and for re-enrollments once you guys get to start working, having a book of business and working your book of business. So for now, we're going to click on this employer conversation. So I'm going to click on this one. And it's going to open it, hopefully, at some point. Oh, okay, so it's actually up here. And so here we go. Let me open this one. All right. And so, by the way, once this opens, you guys will see what I'm talking about. But this one, you can literally print it out. I used to print this out, take it to Office Max or Office Depot, one of those, right? And they would put it like in a nice plastic cover, right? Plastic, right? Each page would have a plastic. I've seen agents that'll do it on their tablet, right? And so whatever's easier for you, but this is an easy way to be able to practice and be able to literally have some visuals for your DM presentation. Okay. So, and by the way, you're going to be able to edit this as well. You don't have to include every slide. I'm going to kind of walk you guys through this. But we've done engage, we've done discover, right? So I've asked questions, right? When we get off later, sometime today, I'm gonna send you guys. You guys know where to find this. I just showed you, but I'm gonna send you a couple of things. I'm gonna send you a business survey, and I'm gonna send you some QR codes that is gonna help you for CCLM and data axle. So if I don't send it to you in the next couple hours once we jump on this, somebody shoot me a text and remind me. But check this out. So literally, imagine that you have this either on a power on a tablet, or you literally have it like on a nice leather, like a nice plastic covered. What do you call it? With laminated. So I've done the engage. I've done the discover, so I've asked questions, right? I've found out about their pain points, right? And their pain points might be that they don't even have a benefits program. And so we're talking to them about what the advantages are to start a benefits program. And so I'm going to walk you what this looks like. So this is the first part, right? So when I'm doing the discover, I'm gonna come to this slide right here. It says, let's talk about your business. So I literally might tell them, Mr. Business Owner, so if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Is that okay? Yes. Okay. So now I start to discover, what does your benefits program look like? What does your health insurance look like? Have you ever had a situation in your company where maybe one of your employees was involved in an accident, right? Maybe I'm at a construction company and I know that there's a high risk. And so I ask him about that. And he tells me, yes, there was this accident that we had last year. And so, okay, so now I'm finding out a little bit more about their current situation. So now I'm going to get into my actual presentation, right? So now I'm going to walk them through what this looks like. And let me play this so it looks better on your end. Okay. So what happens when unexpected illness or injury strikes? Well, a couple of things are going to happen, Mr. Employer. Number one is, aside from the actual injury or illness, oftentimes your employees are going to be faced with unexpected medical expenses. Unfortunately, right? The ER, the doctor's visit, all of those things. But then what's also going to happen, Mr. Employer, is that oftentimes your employees are not going to be working, which means that their income is going to be less, right? They might not even have an income, right? And so Aflac, what we do is we're designed to fill that gap, right? We're designed to be able to help them with medical cash benefits to help them get through that situation, whether it's loss of income, whether it's to help with deductibles, co-pays. That's often what happens, Mr. Employee. And so right now we know that health insurance continues to rise. And so premiums continue to rise, benefits continue to decrease, and out of pockets continue to increase. And so Aflac is a way that we're able to help you fill those gaps. Okay. And by the way, as I'm walking through this, whatever pain point that they had, that is literally the part of the presentation that I'm going to focus and I'm going to bring back when I'm doing this guide. So all of this right here is part of the guide. Okay. So when that happens, Mr. Employee, where do they go? So there's a few places that they go to be able to find that money when they have a loss of income. They might go to their savings. Unfortunately, what we know is that a lot of Americans right now are living paycheck to paycheck and don't have any savings. They might try to go get a loan, right? Maybe from a family member or from a credit card or from somewhere else. But it's pretty hard to get a loan if you don't even have any money to start with. Okay. They again they might go to a family member. They might go to you as the employer. Mr. Employer, have you ever had one of your employees that come to you and ask you for an advance on their paycheck because they have to pay their rent this week? Yes. Well, we already know that, right? So this is generally where they're going, right? And so the other place that they can go, and the way that you can help them, Mr. Employer, is by bringing in Aflac. Aflac is where they can go, where if they get hurt, they can get some money to be able to help them with that bill. And so that'll alleviate the pain of them having to go into their savings, come to you, try to get a loan from a family member. And so, what are the advantages of doing business with us, Mr. Business Owner? Well, number one, we know that we have lower premium. When you offer this to your employees in a group, it gives them a lower premium that if they were to try to get it outside of work. And by the way, we're going to highlight when we do that enrollment, Mr. Employer. So it's going to make you look like the hero. We also know that there's a guaranteed issue available. And again, depending on their pain points, I may or may not hit on any of these. Right? Maybe they talk about a situation where they had somebody who's going through a cancer situation or going through just had a heart attack, and maybe one of the policies that they're interested in is a life insurance policy. Well, FY, we have an opportunity to be able to offer guaranteed issued life insurance and a guaranteed issued cancer insurance. They have to fit different criterias, right? They have to fit different qualifications, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But if you guys know what those are, then that is an option for them as well. There's a lot of potential tax savings, Mr. Employer, right? And this might be their pain point, right? Maybe they're trying to save some money. And so now I'm going to hit hard on how our policies can help them reduce their FICA taxes, which in turn is going to save them money on their taxes, right? For a lot of employers, especially if you're talking to a CFO or a business owner, they want to know how you could save them some money, right? They might not even give two shits about their employees, but if you're talking about how they save money, now you're talking their language, right? We do the in-person one-on-one education. So, Mr. Employee, literally, you don't have to do anything on your end. We take care of all the enrollment part. We take care of educating your employees. We take care of all the back-end work like the claims. Flexible funding options. Well, actually, I skipped to the next slide. So, there's different slides, and by the way, this is just the like unedited version of these slides, so you're literally going to be able to customize this however you want, because as you can see, this slide, 5 advantages to doing business with Aflac, is pretty similar to this one right here. This one has 6 advantages, right? So maybe in this one we're talking about how we can help them in saving money with taxes, but maybe we want to show them as to how they can become more competitive in the marketplace. And so now on this one, it talks to them about how employee retention. It talks to them about it talks to them about employee retention. It talks to them about being competitive in the marketplace, right? About being competitive as far as hiring. And so there's different slides that we can use, but all of these are designed to show the employer how we can help them with our program here at Aflac, right? And again, depending on what you discovered in the discover part, we're gonna hit hard on those particular pain points, right? Um, and so you're gonna see a lot of slides. We don't need to include all 20 slides, right? Maybe your slide just includes eight eight of these, okay? And so you'll see some of the other 7 ways that Aflac can impact your business. And so again, you're gonna see all of those little different reasons right there, okay? Why businesses work with us? Well, you mentioned that part of the challenge that you've had is that you've had high turnover, right? I saw you had a now hiring sign in the front. Is that because you're growing, or is that because you've lost some of your employees? Well, if they've lost some of employees or they're hiring new people, well, guess what? A benefits program as your business owner is going to help you to attract better people. It's going to help you to retain some of your key employees. Our plan fits with any other benefit. So if they're offering major medical, our plan is going to fit right in line with what they already do. Easy to manage. And so you'll see that right there on the slide. And so, the main thing that I want you guys to take out of this is that we have already a compliant site setter that you guys can use. And what this does is it allows you to practice, right? Because right now you might be finding yourself in a situation where you've seen somebody do a DM presentation. Maybe you've seen me do one. Maybe you've seen me role play one. Maybe you've seen your DSC do one, or somebody, another agent, and it's hard to do it just like them, right? It's not. It's hard for, you might think, oh well, yeah, Renee can do it because he's been doing this for so long. Well, if there's not something that I could practice, it's hard for me to do it like Renee, right? But if you have a site setter where literally you know what to say on each page, the more you do it, the easier it's going to become for you to just, uh, you don't have to think about it every single time. It's already there. Like literally every slide is going to remind you as to what you need to say on this slide and what's worked and what hasn't worked for you. What happens? And I'm sorry, it's just that on my screen I see everybody and I can't see the entire screen. So what happens when employees, I cannot see the whole thing. So anyways, you guys can see it. So just read what it says on there. The next one, let's talk business. So we know that your time is valuable and your plate is full. So finding time to focus on benefits can be challenging. And so you'll see some of the other ones. And so some of these are might not be in line, right? Because some of them are the same, but this is literally a PowerPoint that you can download and you can literally pick which slides that you want to use. And so this one, for example, we aim to become the #1 distributor benefit solutions to US workforce. More than 395,000 companies in the US offer Aflac. Millions of people are insured with Aflac across the country, across the world. We've been providing cash benefits to the insureds for over 67 years. Um, Pay attention to this slide. This is one of the ones that was gold for me all the time when I would use my site setter. And so, Mr. Business Owner, so you know, so you've seen how Aflac can help your business. Do you feel like do you understand how Aflac can help your current situation? Yes, right. We're trying to get all the little yeses so that we can get the big yes at the end, right? But particularly in this slide, one of the main challenges that everybody in Aflac has is that you go to business owners and you tell them that you tell them the process, right? We're going to do the enrollment, we're going to educate the employees, and then you come back and they tell you, oh, well, I spoke to my employees and they're not interested. And you're like, dude, I told you that I was going to be the one that was going to educate your employees. And that always happens, right? And I put hard on this one and tell them there. So if you go to educate your employees, and you ask them, "Do you want more insurance?" What do you think they're going to say? And he might, whatever he says, right? And what I'm going to tell him is, they're if you ask them what they want, if they want more insurance, generally you're going to hear crickets. Nobody's, or you might get a bunch of no's, and that's generally because they have no idea what Aflac is, right? They think it's another health insurance that's going to cost them $500, right? They think it's expensive. They might have health insurance through their spouse. And so oftentimes, if you ask them, Mr. Employer, if they want more insurance, they're generally going to tell you no. And so I tell you that because this is where I'm going to bring the most valuable value to you as a business owner, is by me educating your employees as to the importance of how Aflac can help them in their situation, and make you out to be the hero, and that they are only getting access to these policies because of their business, because of their company. And so on this one, I'm going to drive the point home that I'm the one that's going to educate their employees. Okay. Now, is it 100% proof? Of course not. You might spend the whole 30 minutes talking about this slide and then they still want to go poll their employees. And oftentimes, by the way, they poll their employees or they ask their employees because they don't want to waste your time. They think, oh, well, you know what? I'm not sure if they're interested. Let me go ask them. That way, Dean doesn't have to come and waste his time and buy pizza for everybody. But you want to make sure that you drive this home. And by the way, I don't know how you guys feel about a site setter. For me, when I was out running presentations, my first years in Aflac, like literally my first years, I carried this with me like everywhere I went, and I used it every single time because it kept me in line, and it was easy for me to practice. Every single slide I already knew what to say, and so it was easy for me. I didn't have to think, okay, well, what do I do now? What do I say now? Literally everything was right there. But the other thing about explorers is that or about people in general is that everybody's different, right? Some people are visual. Some people want to see something, right? Some people are good at listening, right? They want to hear your voice. Some people they want to see, right? And so I found that sometimes if I didn't have a visual and it was just me talking, it was just me talking to them. Oftentimes it was easy for them to just start not paying attention, right? But if I had a visual, right, maybe they were very visual, it's something that they could touch. This was literally something that they can see, they can touch. And so it just found a way for me to hit more on their way of being able to communicate, whether that was the way the things that they heard, the things that they saw, the things that they literally had physically in their hand. And so it just made it easier for me to be able to communicate with that person. Okay. Some of the other slides. So many businesses face similar business objectives, right? Healthy and safe working environments, remaining competitive, controlling costs, productivity. Well, if any of these are their pain points, well, we're going to hit on how Aflac can help with that particular pain point, right? So productivity. So they're having trouble with productivity. Well, Mr. Business Owner, we know that when you offer an incentive program, it's going to help you to attract better people to be able to find the highest producers. But at the same time, we know that when employee benefits are offered, employee morale increases and often productivity increases. And so again, you'll see some of these other ones, right? A lot of them are very repetitive, but it's just literally a raw slide PowerPoint, and you're going to be able to customize it. I know somewhere on here on that where I showed you on Field Force Services, there's even scripts for these, right? And so you see some of these why Aflac protection. Um, Looking at the numbers, right? An example shows the estimated number of paychecks an employee would need in order to cover a particular deductible. So look at that, right? So it literally breaks everything down for them right here. So if somebody has a $5,000 deductible and they make $15 an hour, they're gonna need to make 10 times that just to meet their deductible, right? So now if one of their pain points was a high deductible, well, this is gonna help me drive the point home even further. Health insurance typically doesn't cover everything, right? So we know that medical issues contribute to more than 67% of bankruptcies. Did you guys know that? Medical expenses contribute to more than 66% of all bankruptcies. 50% of employees will not be able to cover an unexpected out-of-pocket medical cost of $1,000 or more. So literally, not even half of their employees would be able to pay $1,000 hospital bill if a situation came up. And then you'll see over here some credibility slides, insurance claim examples, right? Um, Product choice, right? Some of you guys use a product overview. This is literally one page that you can include on there, right? So here it gives you all of the different policies that are available, easy to use. Value-added services, right? This one even includes the value-added services, right? Telemedicine, telehealth, fraud and identity protection. Even, if you want to get into how easy it is for policyholders to access their information, it's all there. For some of you that once you get into employer contribution, right? So one of the things that so you have engage, discover, guide. When I get to the execute part, one of my favorite questions is always to show them the two options that are available, and the two options are, Mr. Employer. One of the first options that we can do is we can literally offer this program at no cost to you. And actually, I would start with the employer contribution first. So one of the ways that we could offer the program is by you paying a dollar amount, right? And so a lot of times employers, right? Employees want a raise, right? Of course, they want to get paid more. And as an employer, for most, hopefully, right, they want and would like to give their employee a raise, but oftentimes that's not feasible. And so look what this does right here. And so if Mr. Employer, if you were to pay $30 a month towards each employee, that would equate to 17 cents raise, right? So instead of giving them 17 cents more on their paycheck, right? Imagine that somebody increased your pay. You've been here 3 years, and we're going to increase your pay 17 cents. All right. Well, the employee's going to be pretty damn pissed off if you were to do that. Okay. So instead of doing that, Mr. Employer, why don't we, that equates to $30 a month. Don't you think that it would make you look more of a hero if you offered them a life insurance or a cancer policy or an accident policy 100% paid instead of insulting them by giving them a 17-cent raise? And then it continues to go. Look, if you gave them a 29-cent raise, I'd be pretty offended still, right? But instead, what you can do is that equates to $50 a month. You could offer them two Aflac policies for $50 a month. And then you see that, right? 46 cents, 58 cents, $1.15 raise. That's going to give your employee $200 worth of Aflac that you can use to contribute towards their plans. And by the way, if you were to do that, Mr. Employer, a lot of the clients that I work with, their accountants shows them how they can use this as a tax write-off at the end of the year. And so now you're giving them that option, right? You have the option to contribute, but you're literally showing them what that looks like compared to giving the employee a raise, right? And then option number one is, Mr. Employer, if you're not in a position to pay at this time or contribute, we have another option. We could actually offer this program at no cost to you. And all we would ask you to do is to do what we call a payroll deduction for your employees. Which option, Mr. Employee, do you think would be a best fit for you? Whichever one they choose, we close on that deal. And so once we do that, now we're executing on what's next, right? Now we schedule the enrollment, some of those things that we've talked about. And so there you go. So let's get started. So Mr. Employer, so let's go with plan two then, right? Right now you're not in a position. Next year we'll revisit that. Let's get started. So this is the next step, right? Again, if you don't tell them the next step, they're going to tell you the next step. And so now let's get started, right? So we're going to do, first thing we're going to do is we're going to activate your account, right? And so for you guys, you know that that's called NASA, right? New account, self-service automation, right? So again, you're going to go in there, you're going to put in all their information. I literally try to do that right there on the spot because that makes it real, right? I start putting in their information. So Mr. Business Owner, what is the name of the business? What is the tax ID number? How many employees you have, all of the information that's needed to set up the account. I literally start asking them right there at the DM enrollment if we've already agreed on which option. Because what that's going to do is it's going to make it real for them. So now we're literally we're moving into this is happening, right? Because if they're BSing you and they're giving you a soft no, what's going to happen is that when you go back next week, they're going to say, "Oh, well, call me next week." And call me next week, and call me next week. And as a salesperson, you've probably found out that I'd rather have a hard yes than a soft no, because a soft no is going to keep me coming back and coming back and coming back. And maybe they never had the intention to actually moving forward with it. They just didn't have it in their heart to say no, right? But now when I start doing this, now it's going to make it real because now they're going to get an email and they got to authorize it. So now if they have any objections that I haven't uncovered, they're going to start coming out. And so at least now I know that now I have the objection that I can handle, because if I don't know it, I can't handle it. If I can handle it, it gives me a chance to close. And so when I start doing the NASA right there, it makes it real for them. So now this slide is literally going to tell them what the next step. So next step is new to set up your account. This is what we need. You start setting it up. Now, Mr. Employee, the next day is to set up the dates for employee education enrollment. When is the best day? When is the best day when your employees are here? Oh, on Fridays, that's when they're all usually here. Perfect. So I'll pull out my calendar and I'll say, okay, so today's the 26th. How, I have, and again, you're busy, right? If you're doing this right, you're going to be busy. So you literally want to pull out your calendar because you might be busy next Friday. And so I want to be able to see what my calendar looks like so that I can literally schedule a time when I'm available and when you're available, right? And so, Mr. Employer, so look, next Friday I will not be available, but how about the following Friday? How about May 10th? So they're looking at their calendar. Okay, perfect. And we want to, just like you nail down a DM presentation, we want to nail down the enrollment date, right? So we literally scheduling that down. Like Michael Power talked about, right? An employee census. So, if you can just give me that day when I come in, I would like for you to give me a list. That way we make sure that we don't miss anybody and we have all that information. That way we don't take that much time with your employees. We can literally go through it diligently as opposed to trying to figure out who we've spoken to, who we're missing. We have a list. And usually once I get a list, I try to find out who the business owner's right hand person is, because the day of the enrollment, that business owner might be extremely busy to where he or she might not be able to help you coordinate the whole thing, but their administrator or their office manager might be able to help me do that. So now I'll have them hand me off. So can you introduce me to your office manager who can help me coordinate this? Oh yes, that would be Ophelia. Perfect. So now I'm going to become good friends with Ophelia because she's the one that's going to help me bring everybody in, right? And then once we have that, we have a post enrollment date set up where we're going to turn in deductions. We're going to help them set up their account online, all of those things. You'll see other slides on here, like introducing dental and vision, value adds. So, if you're offering dental, it has information on dental, has information on the networks, vision insurance, all of that. Okay. And so again, these are not in any particular order. So check us out. There's even a calculator that's available. And so right now I'll show you guys again where to find this, and you guys can go in here and literally pull the slides out and create your own slideshow that you can use as your site setter. And so it has a ton of slides. So let me go back here. And so here's all the slides that it has. Look, it has a lot of them, right? Everything is on here. And so literally, let's just say I don't want this slide. I'll just delete it. I don't like this one either. Delete. I'm just gonna leave on here whatever I want, right? And keep it simple, right? I don't want to have 20 different slides and be there for 2 hours. It's just something that the more common things that that you always come across out in the field, and you're gonna hit on those guide points, right? And again, but you're not gonna know what to emphasize on if you don't do a proper discover. And if you can't connect those two, it's gonna be hard for you to close and execute. Questions on any of this? If you have a question, please come off mute. We got 10 minutes here. Dean, I know you have a question. Why, Dean, are you always the first one on here? Why are you always the only one I see on my screen? You're on mute, buddy.
Because I'm the most handsome one. I'm just kidding.
All right. Hey, I'll give you that one, bro. All right. Any questions, anybody? Robin, come on. You always have questions. Now you're shy? Hayden?
I don't have any questions. Yeah.
Hayden, any questions? Is that a real background, by the way? Or are you downtown, or where are you?
I do not have any questions. Yeah, I'm on the back patio. Ava's on a Zoom call as well, so she kicked me out.
All right. Any how do you guys feel? Had you guys ever seen the site setter? Okay. So again, so the important aspect of this is just me being able to execute on the engage, right? Because a lot of you are already scheduling meetings. You're getting into DM presentations, right? And if you're doing if you're scheduling enough DM presentations every single week, a lot of times it's going to be hard for somebody to be there every single time with you. And so what happens when I'm not there, or when Jason's not there, or when Kelly's not there, or whoever your DSC or whoever you've been doing DM presentations with, you need to make sure that you have the tools and you're prepared to do your own DM presentation, because at some point you want to be able to be independent, right? We're independent agents, not dependent agents, right? In the beginning, yeah, we're going to do our best to train you as best as possible, but you want to get to a space where you're independent as soon as possible, so that you're in control of your productivity. You're not dependent on anyone to have to go with you. And that's the purpose of these trainings. That's the reason why we do this, is to give you the tools and resources, give you the ability to ask questions if there's anything that you're uncertain about, because you want to be able to be in control of your business and not be dependent on somebody else to for your success. And so again, engage is a huge part of this. It's an easy way to stay on schedule, right? And by the way, sometimes when you're doing the engage aspect to this, you might get thrown all over the place. I mean, I've been in presentations where obviously the first thing is to build rapport, and that business owner is insistent that I get into the to right. What do you got? Right, and I can't be no, wait, Mr. Business Owner, wait, I gotta do the engage part. I gotta build rapport with you first. You gotta be ready, right? So sometimes you might get thrown into the guide part, and right, and so think about it. If I have that site setter, well, now I can start kind of going through the some of the more common things on the site setter, and little by little I can work my way back into the engage, right? I might ask a question, right, little by little. And I was with who was that? I was with Zach a while back, and we went to a meeting, a DM meeting, and we walk in, and it's like a little tiny shop, or like a little tiny electric store, and literally we're out like in the front desk, like where you walk in. The business owners, there was two of them, they come out, and we're literally like standing there, and they're like, okay, well, go ahead. And we're like, can we like sit down? Like, do you have anywhere that we could like meet? And she's like, oh, well, yeah. She started moving all this stuff. And literally we sat down on some chairs, but we're sitting in front of the lobby. Like literally the customers are coming in and out. And so they want us to already get into it, right? And so we kind of start getting into it. We start talking, but little by little, we started asking them questions, right? And it was maybe like small talk, little questions. But little by little, we started working our way back. Before we left there, and you could ask Zach if any of you, I mean, they wouldn't let us leave. I mean, they were literally talking to us. I mean, they were complimenting us like completely different. But when we got there, we're thrown into like the guide part already. And so we kind of had to tell them a little bit, but then work our way back. And once we kind of started building a little bit of rapport with them, now we got it, and now we got back into it. And so know where you are at all times, because I've also sat in meetings with agents where they get all the way to the execute part, and they get nervous and they start selling again. Right now they start again pitching, and I'm like, no. Once you get to once you hit on engage, discover, guide, now you close. Right? Don't go back. Don't start selling again. Right? If they're already signing off, don't go back to selling, because then you're gonna prompt a question that's gonna take you all the way back. Okay. So anyway, so this just allows you to know where you are in the sales process, right? Engage, discover, right? Once you've executed on all of those, now you're ready to close that deal and execute. Okay. But just know it, right? Know what the system looks like. Any questions anybody has?
Hey, Renee, I got a suggestion for another training we can do, is just opening like the NASA account the day before, because if I can just see that one time, I'll be able to do it independently. So I know several of us could benefit from the new account opening process.
Yeah, so I'll make a note of that. What we're gonna need is somebody who has a sick record, like the record, because it won't even let us move forward until we have something. So if you send out the sick request that got approved, just take that number, and I can show you on NASA what that looks like. So I think, well, I'm sure some of you have already seen it. Robin, do you have remember you had sent out for a sick request? Do you have one of those with you that got approved?
Yeah, I have some.
Maybe I can just do it right now. Let me see if I can do it on here. So okay, so NASA, as you guys know, that's how you're gonna establish the account, right? But before you get to the NASA, you need to do a sick request, get it approved, and they're gonna give you a sick request number. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in, and you guys might want to add this to your toolbox, right? If you're planning to open a lot of accounts, you should have it in your toolbox, right? If you're not, then you probably won't add it. So you're gonna come here to NASA, right? And you're gonna go to setting Aflac. You're gonna come to closing the deal and click on NASA. Okay. So on NASA, you're gonna, let me go back. That was too fast. So I'm gonna come here. And by the way, it has a lot of other resources that you can use. The tips for successful account activation, FAQ. But for now, I'm gonna launch it. So I'm gonna access it right here. And so I'm gonna create a new account. Okay. So it's gonna tell me right here, look, before I establish the account, I need to make sure I have a sick record, right? So go to CCLM or go to Sick Express, get that approved. So as an agent, you're just going to come in here, agree, next. Now we're going to put in that record number. What's that record number, Robin?
You can use 383-7279.
Wait, 383.
7279.
Okay. So now it's going to pull up so boom, there you go. Okay. So it pulled up the information. It already has my information on here. Okay. And so now we're ready to set up the account. So in this case, imagine it's you as the agent, and I'm not going to go all the way through. So it's not gonna put it to my name or anything. So here's the questions. Okay. And so by the way, so it has my name. I'm going to put in my writing number here. It's going to ask me for my SIC code. If you don't know what a SIC code is, all of you have at least 2 SIC codes. You have a 0 and an A. A SIC code is called a situational code. What this tells Aflac is how you're going to get paid. A 0 SIC code means that you're going to get paid advanced. So you're going to get the 63% advanced to you. If you use your A SIC code, which all of you do have as well, A is called as earned SIC code. So if you use an A, you're not going to get paid up front. You're going to get paid on a monthly basis as the account is paying. So for the most of you, you guys are going to use a 0 unless it's a particular case where you don't want to take the money up front. You want to get paid as the account pays. So I'm going to use my 0 SIC code. Is there a broker involved? In this case, no. Just click next. And here are the questions. Account type. There's generally 3 account types. It's going to be after-tax payroll, pre-tax payroll, or non-payroll. What is that? So after-tax account. So this means that they're going to payroll deduct. They're going to withhold the deductions from the employees, and they're going to pay Aflac at the end of the month. Okay. So this means that they're going to do it after tax. Okay. Some accounts might want to do it after tax, right? Advantages to after tax is that they can make changes at any time throughout the year. Okay. Disadvantage is that they don't save any money on taxes. So a lot of the accounts, probably about 4 out of every 5 accounts that we open are pre-tax, because this is going to save the employer money on FICA taxes. It's going to allow the employee to pay with pre-tax dollars. And for you, it's a good thing because they cannot cancel throughout the year, which means that you're going to get all your money. Okay. So those are generally the 2 that we're going to use. However, I keep getting questions about, what if they don't want to payroll deduct? Well, too bad. We're not going to do business with you. That's a joke. But honestly, I want them to do payroll deduct. I was almost at a point in my career where if somebody didn't want to do payroll, then maybe it wasn't worth my time on you. But I know there's special situations, right? Sometimes you'll have businesses that they have their own tax ID number, but they have a corporate office somewhere else that does payroll, makes decisions on everything that's going to be internal. And so there's no way that they can do a payroll deduct, but they want Aflac, and they can establish their own account. Sometimes you'll get a business owner that I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to have to do all that payroll, all of that stuff, yada, 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 which is not that hard, by the way. They just have to input it once in a QuickBooks and it does it automatically. But let's just say you get one, but it's a lucrative deal. He's got 100 employees. He's willing to let you do it. Well, we can do something called a non-payroll account. Okay. This is literally an account that we could establish where they get payroll rates. We do the SIC code just like we would for any other accounts. But instead of them having to payroll deduct and pay Aflac with the deductions, we could set up an account where they get all the benefits, but the employee pays for it out of their checking account or credit card. So now we can still do a group even though they don't want to payroll deduct. I used to hate these or stay away from these because your participation is gonna your enrollment participation is gonna be less than if you do payroll deduct. That's just the numbers, right? Maybe you're an amazing seller and you can do good on this. Well, you have to play it on a case by case basis. Right now, maybe you're still looking to open your first account and you'll take it, right? All good, right? At some point, you will get to a point where you're going to be able to choose who you want to do business with, okay? But that doesn't happen if we don't build a book of business first. And so this is an option, okay? However, not all products are available on non-payroll accounts. One of those is going to be short-term disability. If they don't do payroll deduct, they're not going to allow you to do short-term disability without an exception. Generally, to do an exception, they need at least 25 employees. And so there's literally an exception form that you need to fill out, send it into Aflac, and if it gets approved, you can do disability, but it's not a guaranteed. So, but general rule, you cannot do short-term disability. You can do everything else except short-term disability, and you're not going to be able to do a group dental or vision unless it's employer paid, because again, they're not doing deductions still. So okay, so in this case, let's just say we're gonna do our pre-tax payroll account, right? And so so the next question is gonna be, is this a New York account? No. General information. So on here, we're gonna put tax ID number. I don't have a tax. I'm just gonna put 9 numbers here. Okay, let's see if that'll let me through. Okay, so it's still giving me an error here. Okay, so perfect. So is there a master account? Is there a master account number? So the answer here is generally going to be no. Okay, unless they have like a headquarter office that's offering Aflac to a branch here and they have a master account, the answer is generally going to be no. Okay, so now we already have all the address in here. It's going to ask you, is the location address and mailing address different? The answer is no. So I'm not even going to check it. It's not different. It's the same. In this case, they have 5 employees. How many of the employees are eligible? All of them are eligible. Okay. And so now we're going to put in the officer. Okay. So I don't know. David. There we go. His phone number. Boom. Email address. There we go. Confirm email address. And there we go. We can go next. Let's see. Okay. So it's going to ask me to confirm, continue. And so now here we go. So an enrollment period. Generally we're going to use 60 or 90 days. Okay. In this case, I would probably do a 60-day window. Okay. So 60 days. Next. And so now they're going to ask you for billing contact information. Okay. So the billing contact is different from the authorizing officer. So usually the authorizing officer can be whoever the business owner says. It's either him. He might tell you, oh, just send it to my office manager, and the office manager could be the authorizing officer. So let's just assume that in this case, it's the same person. So we're not going to check this, because if you check it, then it's going to ask you for the other person. Billing format. Check if the account uses social security number for employee. And again, I can't see the whole screen, but basically, do you want the employees to be on the invoice? Do you want it to be by social security? No, generally we want it to be in alphabetical order. So I'm not going to check that box. I want it to be in alphabetical order. Bidding frequencies. On what day would you like Aflac to invoice you? So for example, let's just say we open an account in April. They're going to start their first deductions the first week of May. Okay. So they're going to do deductions in May, right? Whatever weeks there are in May. If they pay weekly, maybe there's 4 pay periods in May. They're going to deduct $10. Let's just say the employee's paying $10 a week. They're going to deduct $10, $10, $10. At the end of the month, they're going to have $40 for that employee. in June, they're gonna pay that first invoice. So Aflac is gonna bill them for either June 1st or June 15th. So let's just say he says, you know what, I have a lot of stuff going on the beginning of the month, bill me on the 15th. Okay. So now that first invoice is gonna be due June 15th. So they did the deductions in May, and whatever they deducted in May, they're gonna pay that June 15th invoice. Okay. Then same thing, then they're gonna do deductions in June, and July 15th, they're gonna pay the next invoice. It's only for that particular month that they're gonna pay. So they can have the option to do 1st or 15th. Okay. How often do you want to get invoiced? Always use monthly in case there's a special reason why not. Monthly. Total deductions. How do you guys how do you pay your employees? Is it weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, or monthly? If you do weekly, how many weeks is that? How many pay periods is that? 52. If it's bi-weekly, how many pay periods is that?
26.
26, right? Because there's always going to be 2 months every year where there's actually 5 weeks in a month. So there's going to be five pay periods, right? So for example, you might get a you might get a month where literally Friday fell on the first of the month. They're gonna have to deduct on that Friday, and then there's 5 Fridays that month, right? And so there's gonna be 26. There's always gonna be 2 months like that. So there's 26 pay periods. How many pay periods semi-monthly?
24.
24, because it's always twice per month. And then if they do monthly, well, that's 12. Okay, so you're gonna put it in here. So let's just say in this case they're doing 50, they're pay weekly, so 52 deductions. When is the first one gonna start? Okay, well, let's take a look at a calendar. So we're starting the plans in April. You pay on what day, Mr. Business Owner? Oh, we pay them on Fridays. Okay. So we're gonna start deductions on Friday, May 3rd. And so you see, we're starting at the beginning of the month. So there's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deductions in that month. So there's your first month with 5 deductions. Okay. So they're gonna do a deduction on that month, every single day of the month. They're gonna do it on let me go to May. They're going to do a deduction on the 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, and the 31st. Let's just say the employee's paying $10 out of their paycheck. So that's $50 that they're going to collect in that month. They're going to pay that June 15th to Aflac invoice. Does that make sense to everybody? If it doesn't, ask me a question. Okay. So in this case, we said it's going to be May 3rd. So I'm going to put May 3rd. That's when the deduction's starting. That's when Aflac's already going to take that into account when they invoice them. They know that it's starting on the 3rd, and they're going to bill them for 5 deductions. Premium are deducted on different frequencies. This is a special occasion box, so I'm not going to check it. Deduction information. Employer contribution. Is the employer paying any portion of it? If I check yes, what's going to ask me, are they paying a flat dollar amount, or are they paying a percentage? Right? So if they decide they're going to pay $50 a month, I'm literally just going to put it in here, $50 a month that they're paying. Okay. If they're not, well, then I put no, and it's not going to ask me for anything. Now it's going to ask me, what products are you going to offer? Employer offers to do disability. For the most part, when you're offering, unless there's a reason why they don't want you to do disability, this is always going to be yes. So yes, I'm going to offer this. Employer contributions, does the employer pay any portion? In this case, they're not going to. If they are, you put yes. If not, it's a no. So the employer's not going to pay any portion, or any of the disability is going to be funded pre-tax. Disability and life are always after tax, even if it's a pre-tax plan. Okay, disability, life, pre-tax. Disability, life, after tax. Everything else can be pre-tax. So in this case, they're not going to do a pre-tax disability. Okay. Is this employer exempt from FICA taxes? No. Employees of this are employees in this employer eligible for the rollover retirement tax? I've never met any employee that was, so this is going to be no. Next. Now plan setup. So all of this is done. Okay, cafeteria pre-tax. That's what it's going to be. Plan your start date. So we're going to start this May 1st. Okay. And so it's going to start plan year May 1st. And so the end date is going to be so if it starts May 1st, the end date is going to be at the end of April the following month. Okay. So plan start date. Let me see the month. Let me look at something right quick. And then it's going to ask you for the name of the plan sponsor if it's different. So in this case, it's the same, right? So if the person that's gonna do the payroll and gonna if it's somebody other than the actual company, you would put yes. Is the legal representative different from the billing contact? That's generally going to be no. What is the organization's type of business, right? Are they a corporation? S corporation, what are they? In this case, what corporation? Is this a leasing company or a PO? No. Eligibility. When are the employees eligible for the benefits? I generally do first day of employment. Even if the guy tells me, oh, well, they're not eligible until 30 days in, this will just make it more flexible for you. But if you know a particular start date that they want, and a lot of times I do this because especially if they don't have an employee benefits program. Now, if I ask them, well, are your employees eligible right away, or do you want to do, and they don't have anything set up, now they need to think about it like, well, should it be 30 days, 60 days? I just keep it simple. I'll just put they're eligible from the first day. Let's see. Pre-tax exclusion, all employees will be eligible under the plan except that normally you're going to leave that blank. Cafeteria plans, if they already offer another cafeteria plan, you would just put on here whatever else they already offer. Let's just say they offer medical, you just put on here medical. Plans, and then these are going to be our policies, right? Short-term disability, hospital. Affiliated companies, they don't have any affiliated companies. Does this plan include a self-administered FSA? That's normally going to be no. Then I can just come to next. And so now what it's going to do is it's ready for signatures. And so now literally, and I'm not going to submit it. What's going to happen is when you submit it, it's going to send it to them and they're going to have to review the information, make sure everything's correct, tax ID, address, all of that. And they're going to electronically sign it. And so ideally you want it to sign it right then and there, right? If that's possible, right? If you build a good rapport with them, you might be able to do that. If not, then whenever you send it to them back at the office or whenever you do, you just need to let them know that, hey, they're going to get that email and you need to approve it. And so they go on there and it's very simple to approve. Then they're going to approve it and then you're going to approve it. You're going to associate also have to sign. That's gonna be complete. Aflac's gonna come back and they're gonna give you a writing number. Now you're ready to set it up on Everwell. You're ready to enroll. Questions?
I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, going back to what you said. So, I have that account that considering moving forward, that they want to do the payroll deduction. They don't want to do the payroll deduction. They want to do it with the employees come out of their accounts. But I know that the three things that they're interested in are short-term, dental, and vision. Vision. So, yeah. Tell me what you said about. I heard what you said about the short term. It has to be 25 plus people to participate, which I don't know if that's gonna be the
You have
case.
to file for an exception. And if it's three employees, if it's 3 employees or 5 employees, they're probably not gonna do it.
Okay.
At the dental and vision, the only one that you're gonna be able to do is the supplemental plan unless the employer is gonna pay for it.
The supplemental plan of the dental and vision.
Yeah. You can do accident, you can do any of our core products, cancer, accident, life insurance, critical care. You can even do plus riders. You can do pretty much everything except disability and the group dental and vision unless it's employer paid.
Okay, so no group to no vision.
No,
Okay.
unless it's employer paid, because they do need to do a payroll deduct for it.
Unless employer pays. Okay, yeah, I'll just let her know that that's fine. I
Yeah.
prefer them do a payroll deduction anyway. I was just like, and you said that generally the payroll deduction they set it up the first time and then it automatically it's gonna automatically do it anyway, right?
Well, when they so a couple of things. So on the deduction side, if they're using like a QuickBooks, right?
Mm-hmm.
They literally they set it up one time in there because remember with Aflac they're fixed premiums. So if the employee is gonna pay $10 out of their paycheck, it's gonna be the same amount every single week. So they could input it once, and every week it's gonna payroll deduct $10 from their paycheck.
Okay,
And
but if
that's gonna
they're
be most employers, right?
not
I
paying for
mean,
anything,
huh?
but if they're not paying for anything and the employees have to pay for everything, then QuickBooks won't do it like that.
No, QuickBooks is gonna deduct from the employees, yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying is it gonna after they set up the first time, is it still gonna be automatic based off of what they have set up from the beginning?
Yeah,
It should be, right?
it sets it up, and then QuickBooks every single week will do that amount. It'll deduct it every single week from their paycheck,
Okay, okay,
and
cool.
it even allocates it to where like it literally they set up a file where all of the funds are they can set it up as Aflac, and literally they have all of the funds there. So when they get that invoice the following month, they literally take that money and pay the invoice.
Okay, got it. Perfect. All right, thank you.
And then on their end to pay the invoice, once they pay the first month, they can set it up on automatic draft, and they can pay it every single month without having to manually go in there and set up and pay their account. It'll pay it automatically for them. Yeah, they can set that up as well. So, any other questions before we jump off? I know we went a little bit over, but I figure we might as well knock that out now. Anybody else have any questions? No? Okay. I'll end it with this. I know we usually do a little bit of a leadership thing, but I'll end it with this. I want to share something with you guys. Um, Pretty often, right, we're reminded of how precious life is, man, right? It's, I always think to myself, I try to stay in the moment, right? I try to, you know, be present where I am, right? Be in my shoes, right? Well, it's a lot of times it's easier said than done, right? We get caught up with so many things. Well, on Tuesday, I found out about one of my friends back in Laredo, who passed away from cancer. And so I've been gone since July of last year, and I didn't even know that she had fought cancer and that she had cancer. And she was a friend that I grew up with, high school, everything. And I actually had sold her a cancer policy when she was at one of her employers. And so, this was years ago. This was probably 5, 6 years ago. But I remember she left that employer and she called me and she wanted to keep her policy. So we transferred her to bank draft, all of that. Well, unfortunately, she got diagnosed with some rare form of cancer where I think she had it for like 9 months. Anyways, Tuesday I got the news that she passed away. I didn't even know she had cancer. And so, it was hard because we had a lot of friends, common friends, right, that we all grew up with. She went to high school with me. She was, I think she had just turned 40 years old. She passed away. And it's just like, wow, like a shock. Like, somebody, you don't think, somebody that you grew up with just passes. Like, man, like, damn. And I remember she had invited me a career fair last year, literally around this time. And so anyway, it's just kind of all week. It's just kind of been like letting like that's like I'd still like kind of you can't even believe it. And so, just kind of all week for me, it's just been like, man, the reality of how quickly things can change. And so I'll leave, just sharing that with you guys to remind you, man, that you just never know. There's a lot of people that were here yesterday that are gone today, and so you just never know. And so it just kind of you just think that, hey, you expect to live till you're whatever the 80 or 75 or whatever you expect. You never expect your life to end so soon. And so it just brought, unfortunately, things like this remind you that, you never know. And but I also think about that. She actually did have a cancer policy. And so I looked it up, still active. I don't even know if they filed a claim. So, once all of this gets through, I'm going to reach out to them and help file that claim if they haven't already. But it just kind of brings into perspective how precious life is and how important what we do is because, fortunately, she didn't have that long of a battle with cancer. But there's a lot of people who are battling, who need our help, who need a cancer policy, who can use a cancer policy, and we're the ones that are in position to be able to help them with. And so don't take what you do for granted. Remember that in this business, the more people that we can help, the more that you help yourself, right? The more people that you can go out there and help with our products and services, the more money that you're going to make, the more financially that you're going to help yourself. And so, went through that this week. And so just, man, I encourage everybody to just enjoy the moment, right? I hold my kids every single day, almost with that thought and that, and we have a children's cancer center where so many kids don't even get a chance to live their whole life. And so just enjoy every day, enjoy what we do, have fun with what you do, man. We work at a company where you set your own schedule, you get to have weekends off, you get to do everything. Have fun with it, take advantage, but also don't let the opportunity pass you by. Make sure that you're applying the things that we learn and doing what you need to do consistently on a day in, day in. So thank you guys. Enjoy your Friday. Hopefully, I don't jinx it again. Last week, I told you guys it's a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. And then Saturday, it rained all freaking day. So I'm not going to jinx it this time. Hopefully, we have good weather. But enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you, guys.